customized fantasy football cheat sheets. That's what I'm going to talk about here today. I'm going to put myself over on this side. Um, and I've been reviewing the cheat sheets that are free, and they're just all bad. And so I've given up. Cheat sheets that are for free are worth what you paid for them. So I'm looking at a few paid for customized cheat sheets that you can use in your fantasy football draft. And when you type in custom cheat sheets for fantasy football, DraftSharks is one of the top links, or at least it was yesterday. Today, when I typed it in, I got some different results. I saw Fantasy Pros and Cheat Sheet King and a couple others. But in any event, let's just take a look at DraftSharks. They've been around a long time, and I bought their top level account, and it was really nice. You come in and you make your MVP board. My mouse is stuck. You click Set MVP Boards and My MVP Boards, and it pulled in my team from Yahoo and grabbed my scoring system, and that was great. So I was pretty excited. It then gave me a MVP board, and so here it is. Um, and there's a little video they give that tell you about the top 10 things that are good about this cheat sheet. For one thing, it's not just a cheat sheet; it's a live cheat sheet, so it integrates with your Yahoo Draft, and so we'll update as the draft goes on and tell you who to pick. That's great. Um, the other things, it's VBD based, and so that's critical, and they have that. It's VBD formula though. Maybe before I go on, I should probably say I'm not going to give this cheat sheet an A. Um, I'm not even going to give it a B, probably just a C. So if you don't want to watch anymore, that's what I'm going to give it. But regarding VBD, the reason that VBD is important is discussed in other videos that I've done, so you can look at those. But the VBD that they do here is not the same as the VBD that I'm more familiar with and I think is more common. Their VBD is not just position based. In fact, it's not position based at all. It's based upon the across all positions for the next 10 rounds of the draft. So like the top 10 players at each position. Um, so I'm not familiar with that calculation of VBD. Maybe it's got some validity. I don't know. But the VBD I understand that's pretty common is you calculate the value within a position. So you assume, if there's 10 teams, you have to start 2 running backs, then there are 20 running backs, and the scarcity of the running backs is based upon that number, not across all positions. 20 running backs have to be started every week. That's the demand, and that's what you calculate VBD on. And if they want to calculate it some other way, I'm not cool with that. I need some, information, maybe science-based information, even an explanation of why that makes sense. And I didn't get it in their little promo video. It's an unusual way to calculate VBD. So that's what you're getting here, the projected number. So another thing about cheat sheets that you want are tiers. And I think you can see right away that there are no tiers here. What they're saying is, with my naked eye, I can see that there is a tier, probably down these 4 players. That's a tier. So Ezekiel, Saquon, Dalvin, Derrick Henry, and Alvin Kamara are sort of in the second tier, and you can see Christian McCaffrey's top tier all by himself. So they didn't calculate that for you though, so thumbs down. And the other thing that by not calculating the tiers, what they're saying is that our analysis is so sensitive that we can tell that Ezekiel Elliott is 1 point better, not even. He is 0.7 tenths of a point better than Saquon Barkley. That's garbage. They can't. This is not that sensitive of a projection that they can say that. Get rid of that number. It's meaningless. This is a tier. All these guys are the same. And at the end of the year, you're not going to be able to say anyone's better than the other simply based upon math. You can calculate the clusters, and it's just not true. They can't say that, and they shouldn't. So the other thing you see here is what? They've got this consensus number. So let me kind of back out. The consensus number is the average blah, blah, blah from other sites. Well, great, that sounds interesting. But if you take a close look at it, it's actually a reason not to buy the draftsharks cheat sheet, because the numbers almost 100% correlate with what draftsharks is telling you. And so draftsharks calculate predictions are no better than any other site, pretty much. I mean, there's these draftsharks predictions are, they're higher at every position, but they correlate 100%. They go down in the row, and the difference between one and the other is not that large. So what you're seeing here is that, and what they're showing is that they're no better than anybody else. They correlate almost exactly. And if I did the math, there's a way to calculate exactly what that number is. And I was to suspect that it would be close to 100% correlation. So just based upon eyeballing it the same way I eyeballed the tiers. They also have this floor and this ceiling. Again, another kind of useless number. It's not explained really, and it's used to you during a draft. Maybe to break a tie, you might say, oh, I like this player over that player, but I really would like to see that used in the cheat sheet somehow. I don't see how it's useful. It's really just a standard deviation that they're showing of, the bell curve of predictions. So, standard deviations are standard deviations for one player and another player that, they're pretty much the same bell shape. So and if it is a different shape from one player to another, then why? Explain that, and how is that relevant for my draft? It's just a useless number. It's filling up space. They have this injury number. I like that. That's interesting. And that's useful, again, to break a tie. I would like to see that if somebody's a higher risk. I would like to see that incorporated into the projection number. That's what we do at FFD. RoboCoach actually incorporates the risk of injury, and it's going to downgrade the projection. I don't know that they've done that here. It appears that they're making you do the calculation yourself. It's like, oh, I got a higher risk. Oh, I should downgrade that projected number. It shouldn't be left up to you. And then this is just, the ADP here is just not useful. You can see the ADP for, it goes, 1, 3, 2, 6, that's good. And then you get to the second round and it's 2.6. Tyreek Hill is 2.6. Well, for my league, in my league, the sixth player taken in the second round, if I have 12 people in my league, then overall that would be, let's see, 12 plus 6, that'd be the 18th overall. What if I'm in a 10-person league? Well, then 10 plus 6, that would be the 16th overall. And what does that mean? I'm looking at their explanation here, and it says average draft position, but 2.6 is meaningless. I want the overall, 16th pick. I want the 18th pick, because depending on how big my league is, he won't be the 6th pick overall in the second round. I'm in a 20-team league, and he's gone in the first round. I need to know when he's going to go. So this 2.x number is useless to me. And then I've talked about that in other videos. That's another worthless number. So this MVP number over here, also another interesting algorithm. They they've described. It's based upon whether or not you need that position. So if you drafted 2 running backs already, and then running backs aren't as valuable to you, presumably, and they bump up the projections of, let's say, wide receivers and quarterbacks. Well, yeah, that logically makes a little bit of sense. However, you know, I don't want to. Quarterbacks are still a dime a dozen. I only have to start one of them. I have to start 2 running backs. So I don't know that that algorithm is really valuable to me. And again, if it is, let's just say it is, don't make me do the math. If all these numbers are affecting this number, then this is a computer program. You can change that number on the fly. And bammo, suddenly I don't have to think. So, if you change that number, but now during the draft, when the pressure's on, I have to do all the thinking. I'm like, oh, well, the MVP is this, the ceiling's this, the ADP is that. Forget it. Just give me a number. Another thing you don't see here, you got to see is hot or cold. You want to know whether a player is going to start hot or cold. If they have 3 cold games to start the season, forget it. You're done. You're not going to be able to trade them, and you're 0-3. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, yeah, maybe it's not so important. Because he's so solid and steady. But if he has his hardest opponents in the first 4 games, you want to know that. At least indicate it here with a plus or a minus that they're back. He's backloaded or he's front loaded. You need to know that. And then whoop. Wait until pick. Again, you don't want to have to calculate the wait until pick. So, if what they're saying here is, here's our projected number, here's the consensus number, well, you can convert that projected number into what the draft sharks pick is. We think that he should go in this slot, or we think, he should go in the 2.4 slot. Well, the ADP is 2.6, and so there's a 2 slot difference. So how long should I wait? Well, it depends whether he's a sleeper and a dud. If he's a sleeper, then try to get him, before 2.4, because we're saying he should go at 2.4, and if you wait till 2.6, he's gone. But if he's a dud, then you don't want to pick him up at all, unless you're beyond 2.6. It's math, but I mean, I think you get it. It's sleepers, duds, slots, do the math, and then tell me what pick do I have to wait until. Don't make me do the math in my head during the draft. And then there's also depth chart assumptions. So I don't see any sort of indications. I see this little thing here, this guy, here's another one, bust. Again, if Nick Chubb's a bust, then I want that number in his projection. I can if you just incorporate that into his projection, then you don't need to put this little thing here that says bust. It's totally useless. How, you leave me as the user trying to figure out, well, is this number good or not? Because if that's what you're predicting he's going to produce, and he's not a bust, that's what he's going to produce. Now, I'm being pretty hard on these guys. I like Draft Sharks; they're good. This cheat sheet it's got VBD, which is great. It's customized, which is great. It's doesn't have WUP, doesn't have the depth chart assumptions, doesn't have tiers, doesn't have hot or cold. They could do all these things quite easily, and they don't. So overall, a C. This has been Dr. RoboCoach. Thank you for watching. If you watched this long, send an email to robocoach@FantasyFootballDraft.com, and we'll get you a free subscription. And what else? Thank you very much. Like, of course, and follow, subscribe, and good luck with your 2020 season.